Hey, Ag Teacher Thoughts here. Just thought I'd show you a little bit about where I just spent some time. So, right now I am at an Ag Teacher retreat. Well, I mean conference. I guess you could call it a retreat. But part of what we do as Ag Teachers is we get a lot of experience in industries and other places where our students could go work. My specialty, of course, is the trade, so I go out and I like to tour different things that have trade work. So what I just finished with was Buck Knives up in Post Falls, Idaho. I just got finished with the factory tour. It's dark, it's loud, it's noisy, it's dusty. They don't allow photography or videography inside, so I couldn't show you anything of the factory tour. There's probably a video of it somewhere online. But this is really kind of a key part of being an ag teacher, which is getting out and taking a look at future careers that my students could have. So, you know, one of my benefits is when I get to go and tour places like this, I get to see the jobs they're doing, the tasks they're doing, the working conditions, and then I can talk to my students about, you know, positions that... It's Northern Idaho. We drive ATVs on the road. But I get to talk to my students about opportunities that they could have for a career. So this is just one of them. Knife maker, yeah, you could do that. Starting wage they're hiring right now is $16 an hour. I'm just kind of assuming that's an entry-level deal, but sure, it goes up from there. Where I came from was kind of like the Northwest mecca of knives. So obviously Buck Knives isn't where I was, but where I came from, where one of my last teaching positions was actually in Oregon's Willamette Valley. So I was an ag teacher in the Willamette Valley. Get in here where it's quieter and I can monologue a little bit more. And there we had, see, that's where Leatherman started. Gerber was there, Benchmade was there, Columbia River Knife Company was there, Kershaw was there, and most of those were all within like a 5 or 7 mile radius of each other. So it was really kind of the mecca of knives, right? It's where you would go if you wanted to be a knife maker. So Buck Knives is a little bit outside of that. We're probably 550 miles from there ish, maybe. But anyway, it was a fascinating tour for me. It's always a little bit different because when I go into an industry, especially one like this, I was a machinist for 10 years. So when they're giving the tour and they're talking about the metal and the processes and things like that, I'm staring and looking at the machines and looking at the operators and looking at the working conditions and kind of seeing it from a completely different set of eyes. So it was good to see that. One of the things, and we'll kind of address the career of knife maker. One of the things you got to know when you start to work at a factory is that production manufacturing is boring. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It just is. It's doing the same task day in, day out, over and over and over and over and over again. When I was a machinist, I had one machining cell that I worked in for 3.5 years. I made the same 3 parts for 3.5 years. There was a spattering of other ones that came in, but the majority of the parts that I made were just 3 different types. Yeah, it got boring. It got boring. You know, if you need to be entertained, that's not a career for you. But if you like hard work and you're dedicated to your craft, and you don't mind a little bit of repetition, and you don't mind kind of dark, noisy environments, check out production manufacturing. But this one, you know, it's kind of got a little bit of mystique to it. You know, you're making knives, man. I didn't see a power hammer there. I didn't see a forge. I didn't see an anvil. All of this stuff is lasered out or punched out, just as in all knife making is now. Very few people actually do a handmade knife, and if they do, it takes them 2-3 days, maybe a week to make one. This one, I heard they were talking about some of the cells producing 1,000 knives or more in a day, which it's really not that bad. I mean, when I was a sheet metal worker, yeah, I did sheet metal too. I would have some jobs that would have 2,000 parts to them that we would have to bend, and I'd sit down and about 3.5 or 4 hours run through 2,000 parts, which is, yes, it's one part every few seconds for those of you that want to catch me on my math. But yeah, I remember 2.5, 3 hours for the job. I think it was a double bend in one direction, bend in another, but you could do it fairly quick. And yeah, if you see those videos and people in production manufacturing, it's part. You very much seem like a robot when you do that. I did see one robot in there. There was one cobot in there running a mill on their dry side of manufacturing. So anyway, that's just a little bit about buck knives. I really wish I could have taken some photo or video inside, but as with any modern manufacturing business, they've got trade secrets that they would like to keep to themselves, so they don't share those. They don't let people see those. You know, there's all sorts of worries of why, everything from security to OSHA violations to all sorts of stuff. But yeah, if you're interested in production manufacturing, knife making's an option. Buck Knives here in northern Idaho, that's an option. If you want to get into some of the other knife companies, you got to go to Oregon, and that has with it its own interesting atmosphere. So anyway, I hope that gives you a little bit of information of kind of what ag teachers do from day to day. So yeah, sometimes we go on tours. Been a little exhausted to post anything else, but I'll try to get some other videos out this week about that. All right, hope you enjoyed. Ag Teacher Thoughts out.